Hello and welcome to this instalment of Talkin Trim. I'm Jonathon Skinner and today we're looking at a carpet flooring kit for a Jaguar MK2. So this video will showcase the carpet flooring kit for the main cockpit cabin area of a Jaguar MK2. It can be used as a decent guide for all Mark IIs as well as the 240 and 340 models as well. However, there were differences. Basically, they changed between right-hand drive and left-hand drive specifications, and they also changed between automatic and manual gearboxes. There were other changes amongst that spectrum as well. In fact, quite a few on the Jaguar MK2. We have a whole internal guide to the front floor specifications based on different things that we have here, chassis number wise. But essentially what you've got to remember is for any automatic gearbox cars, there were two different versions of gearboxes. They were both Borg Warner BWs, and that's what appears on the chassis number. But confusingly, within that range, they actually had two separate versions. They had what we refer to as the DG, Model DG gearbox, and then they had the Model 35, which often is referred to as BW for Borg Warner, but that's confusing because both styles of gearboxes were made by Borg Warner. So bear that in mind. For manuals, they only had one spec of gearbox. Then you're just looking at right-hand drive versus left-hand drive. Then as well, there was an option for the very early cars, had a two-piece front floor. So whereas this is the one-piece front floor where it's all one big piece and it curves up onto the sort of firewall bulkhead, the early cars did have two-piece front floors, and within that spectrum as well you had different setups for the cutaways for the throttle pedal as well. So very confusing, but we have patterns for, I believe, all of them. I think we're the only company in the industry that acknowledge all these different changes, and like I say, these are all the different front floors you can potentially have for different bits and bobs. So a lot of information there. So it's always best to let us know your chassis number and then send us photos of your footwell area and we can guide you through it. Sometimes it's down to personal preference as well because some of them are semi-interchangeable. But enough on that. This particular set is a right-hand drive automatic, and it is the DG style Borg Warner gearbox, so model DG on the gearbox. But like I say, for the most part, they're a decent overview of all Jaguar MK2 and 240 and 340 carpet sets. Basically, the things that changed with the front floors, the main change. The gearbox sides are slightly bigger, slightly smaller, dependent on the gearbox. The rear floors effectively mirrored, dependent on right-hand drive versus left-hand drive. So I'll mention all of this as we go through, but they're the main kind of differences. But as a general concept of the carpet sets, they're a decent guide for all of them. Now, on that point, it is worth noting I have done videos showcasing some of the other carpet set variations on our YouTube channel, so it's worth checking that out. Some will be linked at the end of this video, so be sure to click on those. But otherwise, just spend a good bit of time on our YouTube channel browsing, and any other questions, do let me know. So, carpet set we sell as a set, so it's all of these pieces within the video right now. I'm also going to touch on the underfelts that you may require for underneath the carpets, the sort of sound and heat proofing, and also the fixings. Both the underfelts and the fixings are sold separately to the carpet set, but it's worth noting that the carpet set, the felts, and the fixings are all included as standard in our trim kit package. The trim kit package being basically everything you need to do to restore the interior of your car, which is a very popular option because it works out significantly cheaper than buying all those parts individually, so do check that out. Now, this particular carpet set has been done in Savile Grey Wool, and it's been edged in Grey Leathercloth, so a bit of a contrast. Basically, the customer has gone, or rather has got, grey interior trim, so the lighter coloured grey here, seats, panels, etc. But he wanted a darker carpet, so we've gone for the Savile Grey, but then he wanted us to edge it in grey to give it a bit of a nod to the sort of main trim colour, as it were, the primary colour, and I think it looks absolutely lovely. As you can see here, so you got, so Savile Grey, which is a dark grey, and then you've got this lighter grey edging going around it here, which looks really, really cool, I think. But basically, just to show you the lengths that we go to with these sorts of things, these are the two main greys that we can offer: Savile Grey and grey. Grey being quite light, Savile Grey being quite dark. I would say, just as a matter of course, the grey on my video screen at the moment looks darker than it actually is in reality, so bear that in mind. Obviously, we always recommend you get samples from us. Then edging wise, these are the two options. So he's gone for the lighter grey shade, so he's effectively gone for that combination there. Obviously, that would be the more natural fit in terms of matching, but these are the lengths we go to, and this is what we can offer all of our customers, so do bear that in mind, and do check out our materials and colours library for more information. Right, I'm going to go over all of the pieces semi-individually to show you where they go, and let me just pick this book up. There's a decent little guide for it. So let's start at the front of the car. So let's start with the gearbox size, nice and easy. So these are effectively the bits that go up around the gearbox underneath the underdash, and underneath the kind of console area. So these parts here, you get a pair of them, no edging on them, but they are made bigger than they need to be, which allows you to tuck the carpet underneath on the underside there, and also where the console meets at the top there. They are one of the pieces that did vary between auto and manual, just FYI. Then you have this piece here, which is basically goes up into the footwell next to the gear pedals there. In fact, I think you can just about make out the outline of it there. And it's got the cutaway there. I believe that's for the headlight dimmer switch, or possibly the steering column. No, I think it is a headlight dimmer switch. I think that's the steering column one there. But yeah, so you get that piece as well, which does get some edging on it. Now, edging wise, we use leathercloth as standard for edging our carpets. Other companies out there do use vinyl. Vinyl is not that suitable for edging carpets. I'm going to do a blog post or video guide to the pros and cons of it. But a lot of other companies don't bother with leathercloth because they don't want to have to stock that extra material. But leathercloth is, one, the original material used by companies during this era of production, but two, it is a lot more suitable. Leathercloth's often referred to as vinide or Rexin, effectively the same material, and it's thinner than vinyl, but it's more robust. It has a different backing on it, which makes it thinner, but the top coating on it doesn't snag very easily, so if you stroke your finger down it, nothing happens, whereas vinyl, you'll find you'll really grip onto the vinyl when it's sort of sewn around such a small area, like the edge of a carpet or piping on seats, for example. Because it's bigger and fatter, it's more bulbous, but also you do tend to snag it. So again, it's these extra lengths that we go to in making sure that we provide the most suitable materials, but also closest to the original look as well, so do bear that in mind. And the extra note you should keep in mind with leathercloth, edging of carpets, is not all carpets are edged, but the general concept is that when everything is said and done in the car, you won't see any raw edges on show, because they are tucked underneath adjacent carpets that are edged, or they're tucked underneath adjacent panels. And a great example of this is the gearbox sides here, which you can see here. The bottom edge will be tucked underneath the side edge of the front floors here, and then the top edge is underneath the console there, and that allows for great fitment throughout the car, because it gets rid of those, should we say, the idiosyncrasies of the production lines way back when, which were slightly inconsistent, because we've subtly altered and tailored our carpets over 50 years of making the same kits and working with some of the highest end restorers in the world to allow for, we know that the front floors are a good shape fit going into the car, but then we've made subtle changes where we've made these parts wider or deeper, so that you can allow for, should we say, inconsistencies in the tub of the car, and allowing for a seamless finish between all of the carpet pieces. So it's, again, these little touches that we do that really do pay dividend. Same again on the sills there. There's no edging on them because the top edge gets tucked underneath literally the door sill. The bottom edge gets tucked underneath the front and rear floor carpets, etc. So yeah, worth keeping that in mind. So yeah, gearbox size, then you had that piece up in the footwell there. Then you had obviously the front floor carpets. Now obviously this is a right-hand drive automatic spec with the Model DG gearbox element of it. You had the cutaway on the right-hand front floor there for, like I say, I think that's the steering column comes through. Then that's obviously for the throttle. Now the throttle accelerator pedal, that did change things between one-piece and two-piece front floors. And luckily this book actually has the one-piece in it. So you can see one-piece front floor effectively is this one here, which is this very bottom one here, where basically it's all in one piece, and that sort of curves up onto the firewall bulkhead, whereas the two-piece, which was fitted to the early cars, it was a bit of a continuation of the Mark 1, had a separate Hardura heel pad there. So effectively it was like that and had a Hardura heel pad, and then this front toe board part was a separate piece. Again, I have done videos detailing that, so do check those out in the video link at the end. But it's just the one piece, which is by far and away the most common version of gearbox elements on those. So yeah, it's bound all the way around. Cutaway there for the throttle accelerator pedal, cutaway there for the steering wheel column. Heel pad, this is a grey Storvik to tie in with the main trim, with the main trim colour rather. And Storvik is the original material used by Jaguar during this era, apart from obviously the two-piece front floors which use Hardura. But what we try and do is match up the edging anyway. So if there is no Storvik shade available, what we then revert to is plastic covered in leathercloth, so it matches up to the edging exactly. So again, it's the little details like that that we go to that a lot of other companies do not. Left-hand front floor, obviously no cutaways because there is no pedals, etc. on the passenger side for a right-hand drive car. And then you get a pair of sill carpets, obviously left and right. They have the cutaway there, which is obviously for the sort of cross-member section of the carpet there. Then we get to effectively the cross-member section of it all. Now, this is an area where we oversupply because the cars, some of the cars left with carpet covering the bits, other cars left with vinyl, others had a combination of the two. So we oversupply. You get lots of bits of vinyl for the crossmember and a couple of bits of carpet, or rather 3 bits of carpet for all of those crossmember sections in the middle there. So yeah, you'll almost certainly end up with extra pieces of material, but that's always useful to have anyway. So that's those pieces there. Then you had the rear floor carpets. They do change between right-hand drive and left-hand drive. You can kind of see the main differences. This cutaway here for right-hand drive cars, that is where the handbrake lever sticks up. Let me get the orientation right. So on the right-hand rear floor rather, you have a little cutaway, which is where this handbrake lever sits in effectively there. So you get a pair of those, and then they obviously have the slots cut out for the rear floor, for the front seat, sort of seat runner element of things there, and they're bound all the way around. Then finally, you have these bits of carpet here, which effectively sit, there they are, perfect, on that step section directly below where the rear seat is. So the actual lower bulkhead section was vinyl, but then you had this step section which went round, kind of carried on to the sill level element of these, and that's those bits of carpet there. So most of those bits of carpet are hidden by the underside of the rear seat or tucked underneath, again, the sill element of the door there. So you get those as well. That's a nice view of a two-piece front floor. Yeah, so that's kind of your lot. Don't think we've got any more useful pictures there. So yeah, that's the carpet set. Now, in addition to the carpets, you'll want to be considering the under carpet felt soundproofing kit. We call it an Underfelt kit. Now, we supply a natural jute felt kit akin to what they originally used. So that's the one that we mainly offer. Now, obviously, a lot of people these days upgrade to the very modern sort of Dynamat or Dodo matting materials. There's quite a few brands out there, but certainly Dynamat, I'd say, are the main go-tos. And people ask, if I'm putting that in my car, do you need the felt kit? And it really does depend. I'm never going to try and claim that our felt kit is anywhere near as good as the modern day kits in terms of reducing the sound and the heat. They are nowhere near equivalent, and I do highly recommend you get those modern day kits. I've got it in my car. However, when everything's said and done, a lot of those kits go down to almost nothing when they're in the car in terms of the thickness of it. And you've got to remember that these carpets are designed to have a certain thickness underneath them in order to fit correctly, especially around the sort of front floors and gearbox sections there. So we do recommend that if you're using a really premium, say, Dynamat material, which goes down to basically less than a millimetre when it's in the car, get one of our felt kits as well, because it helps position the carpets correctly in the car for fitment. Also gives a nice soft underfeel foot, foot feel rather. So worth considering that as well. But if you have gone for one of the thicker versions of the modern day ones, then you should be okay. Basically, we recommend having a thickness of 5 to 10 millimeters underneath the carpets for optimum fitment. So bear that in mind. Now at this stage, we only offer the natural jute felt versions, but we are looking to offer pre-cut modern day versions, so do check that out and obviously ask the question. Depending on when you're watching this video, we might have already started offering them, but yeah, so you want to consider getting the Underfelt kit, which is sold separately. If you do use one of our kits, black faces up towards the sky, the felt goes down towards the floor. So that's that. Then in addition to that, you want the fixings. So we sell the fixing kits separately to all the other pieces. They are a 2-piece set in terms of the style of the fixings, but obviously we supply multiple of them, enough to do the whole carpet set. And effectively, they get pierced through the carpet and into the mounted elements on the floors of the car. They're mushroom shapes, basically. I'm trying to insert one into the other. There you go, like that. So that goes into the top of the carpet through and connects on and pushes down into the male fixing on the actual bodywork of the car. They're often these raised fixings, brackets, elements of things. Don't think, you can just about make some out in the front floors there. But I've got some good photos if you are unsure exactly how they work or where to position them. Do let me know, because I have some photos. With that as well, whether you're undertaking the job as an enthusiastic hobbyist or you've got a professional doing it, if they've got any questions, do get them to get in contact with us. We have hundreds of photos showing these carpet sets, either fully fitted to cars or part fitted to cars. We've been doing the same cars over and over for almost 5 decades now. Not saying mistakes never happen, but it's pretty rare these days, especially with CNC CAD machines cutting everything out. And so often if there's a perceived fitment issue, that is exactly what it is. It's perceived. It's normally down to a sort of lack of knowledge of exactly how it goes into the car, or perhaps you're using a aftermarket incorrectly made set as a reference guide that you're taking out the car, something from maybe the 90s where it was restored. We hear all of these sort of stories, and often the easiest thing to do is just send a few photos to us asking this, that and the other, and we will send some photos back detailing and advising the best course of action. But essentially, have faith in us. We have been making these kits for a very long time and supplied thousands upon thousands of them over the years. So there's not much we don't know about them. So bear that in mind. Either way, I hope you found that useful. Like I say, please remember to check out other videos on our YouTube channel, especially for these Mark II carpet sets where there were such variations between them. Like I say, I'm fairly sure we're the only company that has all the different variants available. However, it would not surprise me if there was another variant or two out there that we're unaware of, just because of the way the Jaguar production line is. But we're also an adaptive business, so more than happy to work with people if they think they've got one of the more unique designs on it. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe and share with other classic car enthusiasts out there. Check out the videos at the end of this one, and of course check out all of our other YouTube videos. And obviously if you're subscribing, you'll be updated on when I next upload a video. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.